Okay, I hope it's visible. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
Yes,
this
ma'am.
muscle tissue, as the name itself, okay, so these are those tissue actually which muscles actually what happen, it is that type of the or that part of the body which really helps in the contraction, it helps in relaxation. Also, it is that part of the part of the body which usually it expands, it relax, as well as it helps in the movement. Okay, the muscles along with the your skeletal system. Okay, these are those part of the body which really helps in our body movement. And this muscle actually it also it is actually whenever we say about muscle tissue, so in these type of muscle tissue what we usually see is that they have a type of cells which is called as the muscle cells. Okay, so these muscle cells they are also called as the muscle fibers, like how we used to have collagen fibers and all, right, in elastic fibers in the other types of tissue. So in the muscle tissue what type of cells or fibers we can see is the muscle fibers. And these fibers, what happen? They unite together, and these cells or the muscle fibers, they unite together to form the muscles tissue or the muscles. Okay, and this in the muscle tissue, what happen? We usually have three types of muscle tissue, which is seen. The first is called as the smooth muscle cells, the striated muscle cells, and the cardiac muscle cells. Okay, so the striated muscle cells actually this is the first type, and this type usually where you'll find it in all the joints, ligaments, and all those, which helps in your body movement. And these type of striated muscle cells, these are those type of muscle cells which you can control. Okay, they are also called as the voluntary muscle cells or muscle tissue. And when we talk about the second type, which is called as the smooth muscles, so these are those type of muscle cells which you will see it in all the visceral organs. That means the soft organs of the body, like the stomach, okay, the ureters. Because even in these part of the organ, these are those organs also which needs expansion, relaxation. So in these type of organ, we usually see the smooth muscles and the cardiac muscles. So from the word itself, so whenever you hear the word cardiac, remember it is mostly related to the heart. Okay, so these type of muscles called the cardiac muscles, it will be seen only in the heart. Okay, so in the heart we have a specific muscles. So with the help of this cardiac muscles, it helps in the contraction and the relaxation of the heart. That means this is very important. Okay, contraction and relaxation, with the help of that, that is the main reason. So with the help of that, the blood will be pumped out from the heart to the different parts of the body. Okay, so anyhow I will explain again in details what are the types of muscle tissues. So just remember, muscle tissues, these are those tissues which really helps in the relaxation, okay, contraction, and also helps in the movement of the body. Okay, and usually it is usually where what type of cells we'll see is the muscle cells, and these muscle cells will combine together to form the muscles. Okay, and we have three types. We have the smooth muscles, we have the straighted muscles or the skeletal muscles. Okay, we also call it as the skeletal muscles because we usually found it in the skeletal system. Okay, and the third type is called as the cardiac muscles, which can be seen only in the heart. Okay, so what is the main functions of the muscle tissue? Okay, so first is the body movement. Okay, so for in this body movements, actually, which type of muscles cells, which usually function here, it is your striated muscle cells or the skeletal muscle. Okay, so like for example in the skeletal muscles in your bones and joints, so in all these type we need particular movement. Okay, so for the movement of all these we will be requiring the muscle tissue. The second is the body stability. Okay, so the body stability, it requires the skeletal muscles contractions to help maintain the body positions and maintain the posture. Stability means it is very important because with the help of stability only we are able to stand, we are able to maintain our postures and all. Okay, so this who help us to do this, it is with the help of the muscles. Okay, so the muscles, it helps in maintaining all the postures, in maintaining all the different body positions. Okay, be it your sitting position, standing position, different positions. Okay, so these body stability, it is help done with the help of the muscles tissue. The next, it says the storing and movement of the substance by peristaltic contraction. So whenever we say peristaltic contraction, it is a wave type of, it is a wave like movement. Okay, So this actually you'll mostly seen in the stomach, okay, where what happened whenever anything we ingested or we eat, okay, whenever it enters a stomach, so all those needs to be, it needs to transfer, okay, from the stomach, it will go to your small intestine, large intestine, and from the large intestine, it will be expelled out from our body in the form of fecus, okay. So what happened for the movement of all those, what we need is the peristaltic contraction. So by contraction, with the help of this contraction, or it is a wave-like movement, okay. So this, it is all how it is done. This is usually done with the help of the muscle tissue. Then next is heat generation. Actually, heat muscles is also that type of the parts of the body, which muscle tissue, which really helps in the heat generation. Because what happened whenever we do friction, or whenever we move, especially also, for example, okay, one example I'll give you. Suppose if you exercise, what happened when you exercise, you feel hot, yes or no? Our body, when we move our muscles, when we move our joints and all, so in those type of movements, or what happens, so it really helps because of the friction process, okay. Friction, because of the friction process, so it produces some amount of heat, okay. So those also, it is one of the main function of the muscle. Yes or no? I think every one of you have done some form of exercise, or even running and all, where we move our muscles. So during those time, our body used to sweat, we used to feel hot, okay. So that is also one form of heat production, which is done by the muscle tissue, okay, especially your skeletal muscles, okay. Like I have given an example, like how we exercise and all. So like I've said, we have, are you clear till now? Okay. Yes. Yes or
Yes,
no?
ma'am.
Okay, so this is the main function. So we have the body movement, body stability, which is your postures, how you stand, how you sit. So all those we need muscles. Then storing and moving the substance. Whenever we say peristaltic contraction, means it is a wave-like movement, which helps in expelling anything from inside the body, okay, or even moving any substance inside the body. For example, I have told you about how when we eat anything inside, okay. Then the next is the types. Okay, so like I've mentioned, we usually have three types of this muscle tissue. Okay, we have the skeletal muscles or the striated. Okay, striated and skeletal is same. So why do we call it striated? Actually, because of the because of the way it is. Okay, the even from the diagram you can see it is striated, means it have got a line. Okay, I'll show you later. Then we have the smooth muscles. So smooth muscles, actually, these are present in the viscera of our body. For example, here it is given, it is can be seen in the muscles on the stomach. Because what happens, like just now I have given the example, whenever we eat anything. So in order for that, whatever food we eat, it will enter from the mouth to the esophagus, from the esophagus, it will go down to your stomach. So, and when it reaches stomach, it will go first to your small intestine, large intestine. So for the movement of that food particles, for anything, so we need a peristaltic movement. And this, it will be done mostly by the smooth muscles, okay? The next is the cardiac muscle. So this, like from the word itself, it can be seen only in the heart. So this is the main muscles which helps in the contraction of the heart. So contraction is very important for pumping the blood out of the heart to the different organs of the body, okay. So we'll be seeing this one by one. So the first one is called the skeletal muscle tissue, okay. So this is also called the striated, okay, striated, and it is strip of voluntary muscles. So whenever you hear the word voluntary, that means these are those muscles which it is, you can control it. For example, movement of your hand, joint, these are things which you can do by yourself. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So whenever
Yes,
we say
ma'am.
voluntary, means this is something which you can control. So you can move your hand, you can move your limbs, we can. So these type of muscles, tissue, they are called as the skeletal muscles, okay? And why they are striated, it is because of the diagram. See those diagram, those band-like structure line, okay? Those line are called as a striated. So this is the main reason why this skeletal muscle tissue, it is also called as striated, because of that line-like structure, okay? They have that diagram, okay, like line-like figure. So because of that, they are called as striated, okay, like a band type. And it is also called voluntary because contraction is under conscious control, okay. For example, movement of your joint, okay, limbs. Microscopically, the cells are found to be cylindrical, okay, as you can see from even from the diagram, okay. See, if you see in the diagram, those cells, cylindrical shape, those are your skeletal muscle tissue. They have a cylindrical shape, okay? And also they are striated. That means they have that band-like structure, okay? Stripe. Then in between them, you can see they have so many nuclei, okay? So if you can see in one also, they have 3. So they are multi-nucleated. So these skeletal muscle tissue, actually, they are multi-nucleated, okay? So each cells commonly called as a fiber. They are cylindrical. They contain several nuclei, or they are multi-nucleated under the sarcoma or the cell membranes. Again, whatever you see outside, okay, that is called as a cell membrane. So like how we have it is in the same manner, like how in a cells we also have the plasma membranes. So this is also a cell, right? So just that this cell, it is cylindrical in shape. So even here also what happened, they will also have the sarcolemma. So sarcolemma is nothing but it is the covering, or it acts as a membranes of this skeletal muscle cells, okay? The skeletal muscle contraction, it is stimulated by the motor nerve impulse, okay? So this motor nerve impulse, how it will generate, it will mostly be generated from the brain, okay? So this also, when you will learn your nervous system, okay, in detail, you'll be knowing all this. Or the spinal cord, which is a part of your nervous system, and ending at the neuromuscular junction. So with the help of all this, whenever we say this one, okay, nerve impulse, it is like a signal, okay? So from your brain, suppose it will send the signal to the particular part of your body or part of your skeletal. So with that signals, you will move your body. So that is called as a this one, impulse, okay? So impulse is like signal, okay? So this is actually what is your skeletal muscle tissue, okay? So you have to remember it is also called as the striated because of the way of the diagram, because they have a strip like structure and they are multi-nucleated. They have a cylindrical shape, okay? And they also have a covering called as a sarcolemma, okay? Then if we move on to the second one, this is called as a smooth muscles tissue. And these, how it is different from the previous one, it is non-striated. That means they don't have those stripe-like structure, how we have in the this one, skeletal muscles, okay? And one more thing also, they are visceral or involuntary. Involuntary here means these are those type of contraction which you cannot control. For example, your stomach contraction, can you control it? No, yes. Okay, we cannot control this. This is inside the organ, or it is inside the particular organ of our body, and these are involuntary contractions. So you cannot, it is not under your control, okay? It doesn't have striations and it is not under the conscious control. And the smooth muscles has intrinsic ability to control and relax. So with the help of that only, it helps in the movement of all the food particles, whatever is there inside the stomach, because of the contraction and relaxation. So whenever it contracts, so in that time, whatever is there, okay, it will try to move, or it helps in the movement, okay? So this is actually, and when you see the diagram of smooth muscles, how it is differ, it has got a spindle shape, okay? If you compare to the skeletal muscle, it have a cylindrical shape, and here it have a spindle shape, and they have only one nucleus. Unlike the skeletal muscles have multi-nuclei, or they have so many nuclei, okay? This is only one nucleus is there, and there is no distinct sarcolemma, and they don't have any cell membrane like how we have it in the skeletal muscles, okay? But they have a very fine membrane which surrounds each other, okay? So where you can find this smooth muscles, okay? So you can find it in the regulating in the hollow organs, okay? Like if you remember hollow organ, that means these are those organs, okay? So they have a hollow structure, okay? Like a tube and all, okay? So it is found in regulating the diameters of the blood vessels, okay? Because what happened of blood vessels also, every time it used to contract, relax and all, okay? So in those, as well as a part of the respiratory tract, okay? It is also helps in propelling the contents of the uterus. Whenever we say uterus, this is how it is done, especially during the delivery of the child, okay? So what happened during delivery of a child? Lots of contractions takes place. So because of that only, the baby will be delivered, okay, outside of the mother's this one, okay? So that's why in that process we need is this contraction, smooth muscle contraction. So this also related to all this, when you will learn we have specific again subject, okay, in your third years related to this midwifery and all, where you learn about all this, okay? Then in the ducts of the glands, because and even related to the glands also, I'll be taking later on. Okay, I'll be explaining you about the glands. So even actually glands, they used to produce certain types of hormones and all. Okay, so even for the releasing of all those hormones, we need this smooth muscles tissue. Okay, and alimentary tract, that means your digestive system. Okay, so in all these areas, we need the smooth muscles tissue. Okay, and also it is found in expelling contents of the urinary bladder. So urinary bladder and the uterus. Okay, so urinary bladder, it is how to expelling means content of urinary bladder, it is nothing but the urine. Okay, so urinary bladder, actually it is that it is like a storage of, it is that part of the body where all the urine will be stored there in the urinary bladder. Okay, so that's why this urinary bladder, also what happened, every time it used to expand and relax. Okay, that is, so whenever and the bladder becomes full. Okay, so it will expand in order to occupy the amount of urine, okay, inside the bladder. And whenever the urine is passed out, that time it will relax. Okay, so in this also we need the smooth muscles tissue. Okay, so this is it about the smooth muscles. Okay, so remember that the smooth muscles, it is non-striated, it is not under the voluntary control, it has got a spindle shape with only one nucleus. Okay, and it is also mostly found, and they don't have any sarcolemma or the cell membrane, and it is mostly found in all these. Okay, so if you move on to the third type, which is called as the cardiac muscles tissue. Okay, so like I've said, this cardiac muscles tissue, it is found only in the heart. Okay, and it is found in the wall of the heart. Okay, it is not under the conscious control. So out of all these types of this one muscle tissue, remember the only one which is under the conscious control is your skeleton, which you can control movement and all. Other than that, or the remaining two, that both are not under conscious control. Okay, the cardiac muscles has got a cross striations. Okay, why it is called cross striation? If you see from the diagram, as you can see, right, so they have a cross striation like structure. Okay, they are interconnected in between. Okay, and they have intercalated discs, those black color. Okay, those are called as the intercalated discs. Then they have a branching cell, so the cells are branching and connecting to one another. Okay, and they also have nuclei, this one nucleus. Okay, so they have actually, they are have one nucleus, and this is how actually the structure of a cardiac muscles is. They have cross striation. Okay, okay, so the cardiac muscles has got cross striation formed by rotating the segments of the thick and the thin protein fragments, and each cells or the fiber, it has got a nucleus and one or two more branches. Okay, so if you can see, so actually the intercalated disc, actually it separates one cells from another, if you can see from the diagram. And in each and every cell, they have one nuclei, and some of them, they are multi. Okay, they have even branch up, they branch up to another cells. So if you talk overall, what is the structure of a cardiac muscle tissue is, microscopically, these joints or intercalated discs, it can be seen as the lines which are thicker and darker than the ordinary cross stripes. So those are in black shades, if you can see from the diagram. So those black shades or line, those are called as the intercalated discs, and they are very dark. Okay, dark black color. And a wave of contraction, it spreads from the cell to the cell across the intercalated disc, which means that the cells does not need to be stimulated individually. Suppose if any form of contraction is needed. So what happens? So that with the help of any impulse, so with the help of any signal, so that contraction, it will go to one cells, and from one cell again, with the help of this intercalated disc, the information will be transferred to the other cells. So that is how, with the help of all those, it will help in the contraction or the contraction and relaxation of your this one cardiac muscles. So that is how it functions. Okay, so this is actually what it is in the cardiac muscles tissue. Okay, so remember, a cardiac muscles tissue, it has got a cross striations, and it has got, and each and every cells, or a fiber, they have got one nucleus, and they have an intercalated disc which separates them from one another, and also they have some branch. Okay, and this intercalated disc, they are very thick and they have a very dark color. Okay, and whenever there is any contraction is needed, it acts as a wave. Wave means it moves from one cell to another cells, and like that they will try to pass the information. Okay, or the signals, and at last they will try to work as together, and they will help in the contraction of the heart, as well as relaxation of the heart. Okay, contraction actually it is needed when you are planning, when the heart needs to pump out the blood. Okay, so once the contraction is done, the heart will again relax back to the normal state. Okay, so this is actually what are the of everything about your muscles tissue. So do you have any questions related to the muscles tissue? Everyone is clear with these three types of muscles tissue: smooth, skeletal, and cardiac muscle?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I hope you are really clear. Okay, so actually it is if you compare to the connective tissue, this is a bit simple. Okay, it has got only 3 division. You have to remember smooth muscles and straightened. Okay, so let me explain with the last type of tissue, which is called as the nervous tissue. Okay, this is actually you can go through by yourself. Okay, this is actually a comparison between these 3 type of tissue. So by going through this one, you'll be able to understand more clearly, and it's easy for you to remember in this way. Like for example, they have given striation. So if you remember, in a skeletal they have got a striated, that means those line band like figure. Okay, and in the cardiac muscles they have, but they don't have much. Okay, or it is almost like little. They have means what, that intercalated disc. So those intercalated discs also they act as a striated or striation. Okay, then if you see the smooth muscles, they don't have, they don't have any form of striation. And what type of cells? Okay, they usually, the cells in the skeletal muscles, they are usually cylindrical in shape and they don't have any form of branching. And if you see in the cardiac muscles, they have a tapered cylinder parallel. That means they have that little bit cross striation type of figure. Okay, and they also, they have branch. And if you see the smooth muscles, they have a spindle shape. And if you see about the cell membranes also, they do not have any particular sarcolemma or not, which is seen in the skeletal muscle. Okay, then the nucleus in the skeletal muscle, what happened? They have multinuclei. Okay, and in the cardiac they have only one, and even in the smooth we have only one, which is present at the center. Okay, so peripheral means whenever you say the nucleus in the cardiac muscles, peripheral means it is not exactly present at the center. It is usually present at the not exact. So it can be in either in the left or the right side or not. Okay. Then the disc, they don't have any form of disc. Okay, intercalated disc. And this intercalated disc, it can be seen only in the cardiac muscles. Then location, where it is mostly seen. So we usually see in the skeletal muscle tissue mostly in the joints. Okay, your muscles. Okay, in those area which we need lots of movement, right? So in a skeletal system only, you'll mostly see the skeletal muscle tissue. Then the cardiac, you'll see only in the heart, okay, or the cardiac wall. Then the smooth muscle, you will see in the hollow organs like your urinary bladder, okay, your this one, uterus. Then you'll see it in your stomach. Okay, then the main control. So this skeletal muscles, it is voluntary control, and the other two, it is involuntary. And if you see the function, this skeletal helps in body movement, body postures. Okay, then maintaining stability, then movement of all the food particles. Okay, or body movement. Then the cardiac, mostly it helps in the contraction of the heart. Okay, and if you see the smooth muscles, it also helps in the contraction of the and relaxation of all the visceral. Okay, visceral means if all those stomach, your uterus, urinary bladder. Okay, it helps in all those contraction and relaxation of all those. Okay, then the speed of contraction, it's usually the fastest among the skeletal muscle have got the fastest speed of contraction as compared to the cardiac and the smooth muscle tissue. Okay, and the slowest is seen in the smooth. Okay, and the cardiac muscles, they have an intermediate speed of contraction. That means they have a medium level of contraction. Okay, so this is a brief comparison of the muscle tissue. So if you remember this, it will be easy for you if you study it in this way. So it will be easy for you to memorize. Okay, so everyone is clear with the muscle tissue?
Yes.
Yes or no? No confusion, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
remember this table. This table, with the help of this table, you'll be able to remember it more clearly, and it's more easy to memorize in this way. Okay. So we'll move to the last tissue, which is called as a nervous tissue. Okay. So this nervous tissue, it is usually found only in the nervous system. Okay. I think nervous system is already started. I guess your ma'am Lerni have started, right? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so actually this nervous tissue, where you'll get it only in the nervous system. And in this nervous tissue, we have two types of cells, okay? So we have the excitable cells and the non-excitable cells. Whenever we say excitable cells, that means these are those cells which really helps in the taking up the impulse or taking up the signals, as well as transferring the signals from one cells to another. So the very example of this is your neurons. Okay, I think you might have heard of this. So a neuron is actually what? It is a functional unit of the nervous system. It is a very important part of the nervous systems which really helps in the transmission of any form of signals. Okay, so if you need any form of signals, so with all those, it will be done with the help of a neurons. Okay, and what happens to neuron? What happened? They will initiate, they will also receive the signal, they will conduct, and they will also transmit the transmission of the information. Then if you say non-excitable cells, that means these are those cells which are not involved in any form of, they don't receive any signal, they don't transmit any form of information, but they act as a support system for the neurons. Okay, so in nervous tissue we have this neurons as an excitable cells, and we have the glial cells as the non-excitable cells. Okay, so they don't perform any form of transmission of information, but they only act as a support for the neurons. So what are the main functions of the nervous tissue? Actually, first is when we see irritability, that means it is the capacity of the cells to act to various form of physical and chemical agent. Okay, that means the capacity of it to react to any form of any physical or chemical changes in the body. Okay, and conductivity, it is the ability to transmit the resulting reaction from one point to another. So how much that particular cells is able to transmit the information. Okay, so this is actually the diagram. Okay, that diagram is actually, that is a diagram of a neuron. Okay, so actually this neuron is a very, like I've said, it's a very important part of the nervous system, which really helps in the transmission of signals or transmission of the impulse. Okay, so in the neuron, actually it have got this particular this is a figure of a neuron. It has got a central nucleus. Then we have those projection which are called as the dendrites. Okay, so the dendrites, these are those parts of the neuron which usually take up the signal. Okay, or they are the one who will receive the signal. Okay, then the axon, it is that then, and after that we have the microfibrils and the microtubules. And the axon, it is that part of your neurons which usually conduct the signals. And when then we have the, and in that also we have those here, the projection types near the axon. So those are that parts of the neurons which will transmit the signals to another cells, to another neuron cell. So this is how actually it is being, how the signal is being transmitted. So the dendrites will receive it. Okay, after that then it will be conducted, and through the axon then, or the end of the this one neurons, so those signals will be transmitted again to another neuron. So this is how the signals usually, it is passed on from one neurons to another. Okay, so this is actually about your nervous tissue. Okay, so we have to remember these nervous tissue, they are found only in the nervous system, and it is of two type. We have the excitable and the non-excitable. Okay, so the main function is taking up this irritability or the ability to react to any form of signals, and conductibility, that means the ability to receive and transmit the signals, okay, from one point to another point. So this is about your nervous tissue and your muscular tissue. Anyone have any question? Nobody have any question? Everyone is clear? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I will stop now. Okay, I will, you all please rejoin again. Okay, after 10 minutes. After that, I will take few more slides then for today. Okay, because I, in the next class I will see about this tissue regeneration and the membranes and glands. Okay, so with this I will finish up with this first unit on cells and tissue. Okay, so now you have a break for 10 minutes. Then everyone please join again at 2:15. Okay, 2:20. Fine?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.